We often talk about tone as if it's something you can only buy with expensive guitars or boutique amps or high-end pedals. And while that's kind of true, it also means that the focus is automatically put only on big gear decisions. But that's not the whole picture, isn't it? So today I want to take a different angle and want to have a look if even the small changes can more or less drastically affect your sound. So I'm going to switch out nothing but the pick and see what happens to the sound. Before we go any further, let's quickly look at what we actually are working with. For this test, I used 5 different guitar picks. A 0.8 and a 0.5 pick from Henry's Guitars, a Jazz 3 from Dunlop, a 2mm Big Stubby from Dunlop, and a 2.5mm Chicken pick. Different thicknesses, different materials, different shapes, basically as far apart as picks can be. And right away, from the player's perspective, the differences are super obvious. The Henry's picks feel light and flexible. The Jazz 3 feels controlled and precise, and the Big Stubby and the Chicken pick feels solid, stiff, and very direct. Because of that, you naturally start, I would say, playing differently. Your attack changes, your dynamics change, even your phrasing reacts to the pick in your hand. And at this point, it really feels like the sound is changing a lot. But that's how it feels. Just the feel while playing. So let's take the next step, listening to the audio. And in this step, we will step back a little bit and actually listen to what we have here. We compare the recorded files, the pre-recorded files, side by side. First, clean tones, then slightly overdriven tones with different pickups, and then fully distorted settings. There are kind of differences. The Chicken pick comes across a tiny bit clearer on the top end. And while the Big Stubby sounds slightly darker. But already here, those differences are much smaller than what it felt like behind the guitar, which raises an important question. If we can barely hear it ourselves, how real is the difference actually? So at this point, I decided to take another perception out of the equation. So I went online and asked my favorite chatbot, sometimes uses, I gotta regret that, if it can help me finding tools where I can compare the different sound files. So I ran the recordings through a multiple analysis tools that ChatGPT somehow gave me then, including AI-based comparisons to look for measurable differences in frequency response. You shouldn't use AI. I know, it's just for the equation. And what can I say? The result was pretty consistent. There were measurable differences, especially in the high frequencies, but they are extremely subtle. Technically detectable, yes. Musically relevant in a real-world mix? Probably not. Once you place the guitar inside of full production, layered guitars, vocals, keyboards, synths, those differences essentially disappear. So here's my takeaway. From a sound perspective, guitar picks do not meaningfully shape your recorded tone. Material, thickness, and shape don't create a clearly audible difference in a finished track, maybe not even in an isolated single track, but you have to decide that for yourself. What does change is how the guitar pick feels as you play. Pick choice at the end of the line for me is about comfort, is about control, is about confidence, not tone magic. And the pick that helps you play better will always matter more than a tiny tonal variation. So I'm now curious, do you feel a big difference when it comes to picks, or do you think it's mostly about feel? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next one.